Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. The first game review of the 2019-2020 pre-season and season as a whole, I suppose. And we start with a defeat. Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Just Everton. No, I'm only joking. I'm going to talk about the game today. Listen, I'm going to talk about how I think that, why I think that it's not that big of a deal and it wasn't that important to start with. Obviously, we'll go into more detail later on in the live stream. Everton were beaten yesterday on penalties 4-3 by Kariobangi Sharks. Sorry, I always cocked that up. The game ended 1-1 after 90 minutes and then it went to penalties because it was in the Sports Pizza Cup and they ended up beating us 4-3 on penalties. So firstly, I just want to say congratulations to them, and anything that I say in this live stream is said with the utmost respect to them and not to disrespect them, because I'm going to go into talking about why I think it just wasn't that important and why I think Marco Silva and the lads didn't really see it as that important either. Obviously, like I said, this is the game review, so we'll talk about it today. We're going to talk about a couple of news stories as well that have broken in the last sort of 24 hours. One of them regarding Barcelona winger Malcolm, and one of them regarding Kevin Morales as well. And we're going to talk about Richarlison as well a little bit later on in the live stream. But of course, it is the game review, so we're going to talk about the game in relative depth. I don't want to talk about sort of specifics towards the game because I don't necessarily think we have to sit here and talk about the specifics of the game. I think if we talk about it as a whole and what it means in the grand scheme of things, I think obviously you will get a lot more than going on to talk about specific players and how specific players played. Before we jump into that, dive into the live comments. Mo says, yes Cam, yes Mo, we are doing well. Jonathan says, hi Cam, Malcolm fake news. Fair enough, fair enough. We're going to talk about it today. Mo says apparently we're bidding 31.2 million for Malcolm in the next few hours, 35 million euro. Yeah, that's definitely something that we're going to speak about towards the end of today's stream. Steve says, I know the Neres rumours were a smoke screen for us to sign Malcolm. Quality from Marcel Brands there, Cam. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens on that sort of point as well. But anyway, I suppose we'll jump straight into talking about the game yesterday because it is the game review. And although for me, listen, we sat here in the game preview and we spoke about this game and we said about, you know, how it's obviously it's a first pre-season game. Not only that, the lads have been back less than a week in training, of course. Obviously, the first bunch of lads returned to Finch Farm last Monday. They then obviously played the game on Sunday. So even that, it was less than a week's worth of training, and that's not even taking into consideration the fact that they flew most of the day on Thursday. Now, they might have had a training session on Thursday, don't get me wrong, but they spent a large majority of Thursday and Friday obviously travelling over to Kenya. So that's a point to think about, of course. Listen, on the surface, we lost the game of football, and I don't want anybody to sit here and think I'm making excuses or I'm just trying to cloud the fact that we were beaten. But I genuinely, for me, don't think this game means a lot. I seen this game yesterday, and I seen it before the game, I seen it after the game, and I seen it during the game as just a training session. A game that you probably will find Everton Football Club and the lads that played yesterday will play in a number of these games throughout the season against each other, and you won't see them televised. The fact that it was the Sports Pizza Cup, obviously we had to go over to Kenya for Sports Pizza, and everything about the trip was absolutely unbelievable apart from the result of the game. Obviously the community work that you see in the lads doing Everton in the community over there with the Kenyan community, giving away free shirts, giving away free jerseys, absolutely unbelievable to see. And overall, as a trip itself, it was absolutely fantastic, and I think it was well worth going over there. But in terms of the game itself, again, very much like the game against Erdning last season, a game that realistically is only really a training exercise. It wasn't even really part of our pre-season. When you think about it, yes, it was the first pre-season game. Yes, it was, the first game that we seen the lads in the new kit. Yes, it was the first time we've seen Everton since obviously the last game of the season. But again, like I said, for me, this always felt like more of a training session, a training game, than an actual pre-season game. If you look at our pre-season fixtures, we've got the likes of Werder Bremen, we've got the likes of Wigan, obviously we've got the likes of Seville as well. We've got some, and Mines as well. We've got some really, really decent teams there. That is our pre-season, and I don't think yesterday's result will have an effect on the rest of our pre-season. Like, you've got to take into consideration the fact that A, the lads haven't even been back at training in a week. B, obviously they've been on holiday, they've been spending time with their family, they're not going to be at the fitness level, they're not going to be as sharp as they need them to be. C, like we said in the game preview, the Kariobangi Sharks are midway through their season. they're playing consistently week in, week out, so they were obviously going to be fitter, obviously going to have, more stamina and more sharpness than us, because again, like I said, we're literally only being back a week. And like I said, although it was televised, although it was put on, it was put on YouTube, it was streamed for us all to watch. Again, not at one point during that game did I think, I'm a little bit worried here, I'm a little bit shocked. We sat here in the game preview and we sort of knew what to expect. We knew that technically we should have had the quality to beat them. We should have the quality on paper, the likes of Andre Gomez, obviously Premier League experienced player, Leighton Baines as well, Morgan Schneiderlin, Tom Davies. But it wasn't about that for me. It was about obviously the trip in itself, the whole round trip, the community work that the lads done over there, the community work that the club done over there, and then like I said, playing in a game of football that realistically to those lads will have felt like a nice breakaway from training after a hard grueling first week back at Finch Farm. It would have felt like a nice little game of football to play. And yes, it wasn't brilliant, it wasn't fantastic, we weren't absolutely unbelievable, but we knew we weren't going to be unbelievable. I don't think any Evertonian went into that game thinking, right, I want to see Andre Gomez at his absolute best. I want to see the youngsters absolutely tearing it up left, right and centre. For me, we improved as the game went on. Obviously, the second half was a lot better than the first half. Exactly like we predicted, Marco Silva went with pretty much two, different starting 11s for the first half and the second half. He played the more experienced players in the first and then introduced the under-23s in the second half. Of course, Nathan Broadhead come on early on in the first half because of an injury to Ademola Lookman. Ademola Lookman is due to have a scan on that injury, by the way, later today or tomorrow, and we'll find out more about that in the next coming days, I assume. But like I said, it improved in the second half. And I think it improved because A, we grew into the game, and B, like I said, we started to see the under-23s be integrated. We started to see players that realistically knew they had to get their head down and they had to really, dig deep, because at the end of the day, this is an opportunity now, like we said in the preview, for Morgan Feeney, for Nathan Broadhead, for Fraser Hornby, for Benny Beningame. This is an opportunity now for these players to really, really show Marco Silva what they can do. And really, really say to Marco Silva, listen, I deserve to at least be within, the first team squad next season. If I'm not playing, week in, week out, which is unlikely, I at least deserve to be in and around the bench or in and around your plans going forward. And like I said, we improved when the under-23s come on. Obviously, Joe Williams scoring a fantastic free kick for me, absolutely technically brilliant. To, like I said, to have the football and brain to be able to understand that the wall we're going to jump and to curve it under them. It's real quality. And obviously Fraser Hornby missing a little bit of an opportunity, but again, I said it in the preview, we were gonna see players missing opportunities. We were gonna see even the under-23s who've got a lot to prove. They have still only been back at training a week. They still have had a breakaway from obviously from their season when they won the under-23s Premier League 2 with David Unsworth, of course. So we were always going to be seeing a game where you're thinking, oh, we need to be a bit better here, we need to be a bit sharper, we need to, be a bit fitter, and that's what pre-season's about. And like I said, this for me wasn't, although it was a pre-season game, it wasn't a pre-season game, if you get what I mean, because again, it wasn't part of our pre-season sort of tour in terms of going over to Germany to play in the tournament or playing obviously Wigan over here, but again it was a game that obviously would have felt like a training session for the lads and would have felt like an opportunity to get out there, put a kit on and have a proper game of football for the first time obviously in a couple of months. And again, like I said at the start of the team, no disrespect to the Sharks there, they played well, they done exactly what they needed to do, they won the game at the end, but I just don't think Everton and Marco Silva took it, as serious as maybe they did and as serious as maybe we should have done. I don't know, but at the end of the day, there's not much Marco Silva could have done. He had a chopped squad. A lot of the players that played in the first half that were classed as the experienced first teamers aren't even players that are going to be sort of within the starting 11 next season. You've got Stecklenberg, who looked poor and again won't be anywhere near the starting 11. Yes, you've got Andre Gomez, who of course will be within the starting 11 next season, but Leighton Baines isn't likely to be. Morgan Schneiderlin isn't likely to be. Tom Davies will struggle to be as well. So even the team that played in the first half, that you could say were the experienced starting 11 players, even they aren't lads that are going to be getting in the team week in, week out next season. So of course, like I said, we've seen Luca Dean, we've seen Bernard, we've seen Morgan, we've seen Gylfi Sigurdsson, we've seen Jordan Pickford, and we've seen Michael Keane all return to Finch Farm today to start their pre-season training, of course. So it was a chopped squad, of course. It got better in the second half as the under-23s come on, and what I can say is you could really see at times yesterday how clued up the under-23s are with each other and how much of it, how sort of involved they are with each other, because a lot of the time they were playing like a side, and you could see why David Unsworth's got them to winning 2 Premier League 2 titles in 3 years, because they link up really, really well together and they understand each other. And like I said, that'll be really, really interesting for Marco Silva to see, because he's going to look at different players in the under-23s and he's going to think, right, okay, he impressed me, if I can bring them through as, like a couple, or if I can bring a group of them through, then, obviously integrate them into the first team, and they know each other. And they know how each other plays, and it's clear that there's quality there. It's clear that Fraser Hornby's got quality. We've seen it in the under-23s last season. He mightn't have been fantastic yesterday. It's clear Joe Williams has got quality to be able to do that, to be able to score a free kick like that. It shows you've got quality. Morgan Feeney as well. But like I said, how much do we take out of this game other than it was the first pre-season game? The lads haven't even been back a week. They've been back 6 days when the game was played. 2 of them days, I'd say, were spent travelling and obviously in the community and stuff in Kenya. So realistically, 3-4 days of training after you take the first day of training away, which is just fitness tests and stuff. Did we really expect us to go out there and be absolutely unbelievable and blow, the Sharks away? No, not really. That's why I'm not particularly taking much out of the game whatsoever. Let me just tweet the team out so everybody on Twitter knows we are live. If you're not enjoying so far, please do leave a like. Like I said, listen, I'm not going to make any excuses. It's disappointing to lose. Obviously, it wasn't nice to see us, beaten in the first pre-season game of the season, but I think it's a little bit different than if we went to Wigan in a couple of weeks' time and we were beaten, or if we performed like this 2 or 3 weeks down the line when we're playing the likes of Werder Bremen, when we're playing over in Germany in that tournament. Then you might think, okay, it's a little bit of a worry here because the players still aren't fit, the sharpness still isn't there, we still don't look like we're ready to start a Premier League season. But again, like I said, the 7th of July, got over a month until the Premier League starts. The first pre-season game within literally a week of the lads returning. I just don't think there's that much to take out of it. I don't really think it's that deep. I'd be worried if we were sitting here 2-3 weeks down the line and we were performing like that. But that's what pre-season's about. It's about getting the lads in, and it's about seeing where they're at now. And Marco Silva has seen, where the lads are at now. He's seen the fitness levels. He's seen how sharp they are. He's seen, whether they need a little bit of work on certain aspects of the game, and Marco Silva can now go back and work on that at Finch Farm, ready for the rest of the pre-season fixtures, and hopefully you would like to see an improvement going forward, of course. Where are we? Whiskey says, fair play to the Sharks, they wanted it more, but let's be fair, the starting 11 had 9 players with Premier League experience, so we should have won. I agree, and I'm not sitting here saying, it doesn't really matter, we shouldn't have won. I expected it, we should have won, we should have had more than enough quality to beat them on the day. The only thing that we had going against us, like I said, was the fitness element of it, was the fact that we weren't as fit as them, we weren't as sharp as them. But 100% agree with you, Whiskey, we should have had more than enough quality to win that game of football, because at the end of the day, we had players like Leighton Baines, who's got years and years, 10 plus years of Premier League experience, Morgan Schneiderlin, even Andre Gomez, who obviously wasn't, fit, of course, but we should have had enough quality to beat them. However, again, like I said, when you put it in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it has that much of an effect on the season, and I don't even think it has that much of an effect on the rest of the pre-season, if I'm being honest with you. Steve says, any truth in the Adama Samaro rumours, considering he is 27? Again, it's paper rumours. I have seen it today. I can't pronounce his name, so I do apologise about that. I have seen it today. It's paper stuff. I wouldn't assume there's a lot in it, because again, it goes against Marcel Brands' sort of situation and how Marcel Brands likes to recruit players. However, I suppose we'll just have to wait and see with that one. Jonathan says, I'd be happy with Zuma, Malcolm and a right back and a forward. I also would be happy with that. Ian says, I thought it was marvellous, boss atmosphere with 60,000 plus, and I love that fake hamstring penalty celebration, Bill. Exactly, and that's another thing. We had 63,000 fans go and watch that game. Now, granted, and not, the majority of them probably weren't Everton fans. They probably were fans of Kariobangi Sharks, or just fans of football that wanted to go and see a football game. But to have 60,000 fans go over and watch the lads playing in the first pre-season game it's massive, and it really, really is massive, especially for the young lads, especially for the under-23s who need to be getting used to playing in front of crowds of 40,000+ at Goodison Park week in, week out. That's one of the big things that the 23s will have to deal with, and the 18s coming through as well. well will have to deal with when they break into the first team. It's not just the quality of football, which I think it's fair to say is the biggest thing they'll have to deal with, but it's being able to play in front of a crowd and being able to play with pressure on you. And like I said, yesterday was a massive tester for the lads, and it was a really, really good experience for them to get out and play in front of such a massive crowd, a crowd that, you know, they're not going to play in front of again, you know, in the Premier League. Certainly not at Goodison Park, obviously, because our stadium doesn't hold 60,000 plus seats. So yeah, like I said, absolutely fantastic atmosphere and a fantastic experience for both the experienced lads and the younger lads as well. Steve says, do you think Marcel Brands will leave most the outgoing transfers until after the 8th of August, like last summer, to prioritise incomings because we can still sell to foreign clubs after August the 8th? I don't know. I think Marcel Brands, to be honest, will... I think he'll just sell when offers come in and when the right offer comes in for the club. I don't think he'll just get rid of players for the sake of getting rid of players. I don't think he'll sell even the deadwood if the deal isn't right for the club and if, you know, he doesn't feel like we're getting a good deal for them. I don't think there's necessarily a plan for it. I don't think he's sitting there saying we'll bring the incomings in first and then we'll ship the outgoings out. I think he's just literally waiting for the right bid for players, whether that's, you know, in a couple of days' time or whether that's, like you said, after the 8th of August when teams sort of the international clubs start to get a little bit desperate and start to want players. I think he's just waiting for the right deal to come in, really. And again, similarly with bringing players in, I think he's waiting for, you know, the negotiations to sort of further with, obviously, we spoke about Malcolm. Again, that's going to be another situation like Andre Gomes. I dare say, if that is true and there is truth in that, you know, Marcel Brands is going to travel over to Barcelona and he's going to have talks with Barcelona about bringing that price down for that player and what can be involved in that contract, exactly like he did for Andre Gomes. Ian says, Steve, think we have to balance the wage bill foremost to pass the FFP. Yeah, again, Marcel Brands has come out and said that quite openly in January, that, you know, he said in January that it was one in, one out system. We need to sell to buy, and again, nothing will have changed this summer. We do need to get rid of the deadwood, we really, really do, but I also think Marcel Brands is a fantastic businessman and he's got it up here. He's very, very clued up here, and I don't think he'd just get rid of players for the sake of, right, they need to go, get rid of them. Although you might look at some players in there, Niassi, Morales, who you're thinking just get rid of, we don't really care. You know, Marcel Brands is a business and Everton is a business, and as a club, obviously we'll need to make sure that they're covering the back in terms of getting a decent, you know, amount of money back for those players. Mo says Fraser Hornby is effing shite. I disagree, mate, but fair enough, that's your opinion. He wasn't fantastic yesterday, but again, a player that's only been back insane in a week, so we'll have to see how he plays in the next couple of pre-season games, which I dare say he will feature in. Mo says Bowler actually looked decent, quite decent though. Yeah, he is a decent player. Again, a really, really good player, obviously breaking through from the under-23s. I think he's definitely one that Marco Silva will have his eye on. He is one that Marco Silva will be thinking to bring in to the first team next season to have some involvement in either the Premier League games or the Cup games. Mo says ideal XI for next season: Pickford, Coleman, Zuma, Keane, Dean, Gomez, Gay, Malcolm, Richarlison and Moise Keane. Listen, and then Sigurdsson as well, number 10. Listen, I'd love that starting 11. I'd like to see Bernard in there because I just love Bernard. I think he's boss. But I think we could sign Zuma. I think the club wants Zuma, and I think Marcel Brands and Marco Silva will pursue the signing of Zuma. It's just whether Frank Lampard and Chelsea decide to want to sell him. I don't think we'll sign Moise Keane, to be honest, and it'll be interesting to see the Malcolm stuff as well. Steve says thoughts on Marcel Brands, fucking Morales off, apparently going to Standard Liège for 1.3 million, and Jonathan says Morales gone for 1.3 million. That's something that I was going to speak about at the end of the team. I've literally just seen it just before I started seeing it. Apparently Standard Liège have agreed the deal and signed, by all accounts on Twitter and mad newspapers and journalists, signed Kevin Morales for 1.3 million. Now, again, nothing has been made official by the club. It's something that's really just come out the blue. There was a picture of Kevin Morales at either Manchester or Liverpool airport today, returning back for pre-season training. So I find it hard to believe as to why he would be returning back to, you know, Liverpool to return to pre-season training at Finch Farm when he'd agreed to sign for Standard Liège. So that makes me think that the rumours aren't true. Again, 1.3 million. I don't think we'll get an awful lot of money for Kevin Morales, don't get me wrong, but I think we can get a lot more than 1.3 million in this current market. Again, that's another thing that makes me think, is it right? I dare say Standard Liège are interested in the player. Obviously, he played there previously. We signed him from Standard Liège, but I don't believe that at the minute, purely because, like I said, he's returned back to England today for pre-season training, according to, a picture. That picture could have been taken years ago, but I find it weird for it to come up today. And the 1.3 million as well, unless Marcel Brands is really, really, really wanting to just get rid of Kevin Morales and be done with it. I can't see him selling him for 1.3 million personally, but we'll have to see how that one obviously goes on in the next couple of days and weeks, of course. I do think Kevin Morales will leave the football club this summer, but we'll have to see if it is to Standard Liège and if it is for 1.3 million. Luke says, bro, that needs a chance at some point next season. I agree, really, really good player, got a lot of potential. Again, just about whether Marco Silva thinks he's good enough. Yeah, is an opinion. Mitchell says none of them under 23s are nowhere near good enough. Massively overhyped. Sammy leveled a lot of them. Fair enough. That's an interesting opinion. It's really, really interesting to hear all your opinions on the under 23 squad. Let me know what you think in the live comments, and if you're watching as a YouTube video afterwards, let me know in the YouTube comments as well. Do you think the under 23s that featured yesterday are good enough to have some involvement in the first team next season? Now, I don't mean playing week in, week out. I don't mean, playing even in the cup competitions, in the Carabao and the FA Cup, but do you think any of them are good enough to at least be bench players that can come on in the last 20 minutes of a game and affect the game, players that can be brought on and can be brought into the team if there's an injury or if there's a suspension? If you do, let me know which players you think are more than good enough. If you don't, let me know, why you don't believe they're good enough. Really, really interesting, that, Mitchell. Thank you very much. Luke says, shame Neres wants to stay at Ajax. Imagine a full Brazilian front line with Richarlison, Bernard and Neres. Yeah. Listen, to be honest, Luke, I've imagined that many a times while I've been lying in bed, sitting there thinking, how boss are Everton going to be next season? I've been sitting there thinking, Marcel Brands is boss, Marco Silva's boss, and imagine a front three of Brazilian internationals. And, it does seem too good to be true at the minute. Listen, we'd all love David Neres. He's an absolutely fantastic footballer. He's got a lot of potential, and he's got a lot of quality today, regardless of whether he lives up to that potential. But again, don't necessarily think we'll sign him. I think Ajax will want an awful lot of money for him. I don't think Marcel Brands will pay that price, and I also don't think that in the grand scheme of things, regardless of how close he is to Richarlison, I don't think David Neres would want to come to a football club that, like I said, at the minute aren't in any European competition, when I dare say he's got multiple European sides, Champions League sides that are wanting to put his signature on a piece of paper. So I don't think that one will happen. I would be very surprised if it did happen. However, I would be absolutely ecstatic if it did happen as well. Ian says, Morales has come back to empty his locker so Niasse can have it. Yeah, Niasse's another player that I fully expect to leave in the summer going through next season. I expect Niasse, I expect Kevin Morales, I expect James McCarthy, all three of those lads to not be Everton players come the start of next season. But again, that's just my opinion. We'll have to see how they obviously progress in the next couple of days and weeks. If you're not enjoying the team so far, please do leave a like. Really, really does help me out. Really, really do appreciate that. And if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button as well. Again, really, really does mean a massive amount to me. Listen, like I said, just to briefly sum up yesterday's game, it was disappointing to lose. It's always disappointing to lose. It's always disappointing to lose a game that, like I said, Everton had really, really pushed us. Our first pre-season game. It was all over the website, of course, and I think it was all over the website for multiple reasons. A, because they really pushed it as the first pre-season game of the season, but B, obviously because of the fantastic work that Everton in the community's done and the club done going over to Africa and really, really getting involved with the fans over there and really, really getting involved with the community. It was disappointing, of course, to obviously to lose the game of football. It was disappointing to see that the lads weren't absolutely unbelievable, but again, we sort of expected that. And Marco Silva had gone over there with under the impression as to, yes, we want to put in a decent performance. Yes, we want to show the fans that they've travelled all the way to Kenya. They've travelled for a reason. However, I think he'll have also gone over there with having it in the back of his mind. Listen, the lads have only been back a week. I've seen them in training for a week. I just want to see them in a game of football for 90 minutes against the side that realistically aren't anywhere near the level of any Premier League side, probably any Championship side either. And I don't think because we were beaten in that game and because we were fantastic, you should sit there and go, we're not as good as a Championship side, because that's not how it works, is it? Let's be honest. Like I said, the lads have been back a week and we've got an awful lot of games between now and the start of the Premier League season. So I expect us to be a lot better going forward. I expect us to be a lot fitter. I expect us to be a lot sharper. I think the key thing is, but for us Evertonians and for us fans, is that we see improvements. We see improvements in the next pre-season game. We see improvements in the next pre-season game. And we carry on seeing improvements, obviously, until the first Premier League game of the season against Crystal Palace on the 10th of August. And if we continue to see improvements through pre-season, then Marco Silva's doing something right, isn't he? Because he's getting the lads in, he's telling the lads what they're doing wrong, and he's making sure that they, build on that and work on that before the start of the Premier League season. Listen, Andre Gomez wasn't as good as we're used to seeing him. The under-23s lads mightn't have been as brilliant as we thought they should be. The Premier League experienced players mightn't have been as fantastic as we wanted them to be, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter an awful lot. It was a training exercise for me. Fantastic to go over there, fantastic to get involved in the community, fantastic to play the game of football. But again, it wasn't. I don't really see that as a pre-season game, although it was technically. I see it as sort of a training session, and I think that's exactly how we seen the game against Erding last season when we won 22-0. Although that was pushed as a pre-season game, although that was shown on Sky Sports News as our first pre-season game. Was it really, or was it just a game of football at the end of a training camp that Everton decided to throw on a live team so fans could watch and see the lads back in action? It purely, I think, the rest of pre-season is about seeing how the lads have improved and seeing how the lads have sort of getting back into playing football and getting the sharpness and getting the stamina back. I think that game was about just seeing the lads in an Everton kit again and watching them run around playing football, because like I said, it's been a hard and grueling last couple of months, obviously, since the last game of the season against Spurs, having to not see the lads. I think the Everton just purely said, we're playing a game in Africa. It's not really, it hasn't really got much to it other than the fact, obviously, that it's fantastic for the community, but you may as well watch it because we're playing it. You may as well watch it. But like I said, it's interested now to see where we go going forward and what Marco Silva has to say to the squad as well, getting in what he said in obviously the post-game team talk, what he said to the under-23s and what he said to the rest of the lads as well, because there's no question about it. We need to improve. We can't play like that against top European sides like Werder Bremen, who are a decent side in Germany, Mainz as well, who are a decent side, even Wigan, who are a decent level side in England. We can't play like that because we will be beaten, but I don't think we'll play like that either. Paul says Marco Silva has ordered Everton sign Malcolm according to Get French Football. I just hope he plays through the middle. Hashtag Malcolm in the middle. Yeah, imagine that. Imagine, it's not going to happen, but we can only hope. Imagine Malcolm, and then again, where does Sigurdsson go? I was going to say Malcolm in the middle, of course, Richarlison, Bernard and David Neres, but then where does Sigurdsson go? And it's too mad, but let's be honest, we're probably not going to sign David Neres, so we don't have to worry about that. Ian says, Paul, marvellous, yeah, fantastic comment. Anyway, I'm going to leave today's team there. If you have enjoyed, please do leave a like. It really does mean a massive amount to me. Before we go, like I said, a couple of bits of news that I wanted to talk about before I leave. I nearly forgot about them then. Firstly, according to RMC Sport, which are journalists, of course, again, it's a little bit of paper talk, but they're a little bit more reliable than certain sort of outlets. According to them, Everton are set to bid €35 million for Barcelona winger Malcolm. So we've spoken about him through today's team. Obviously, everybody has gotten onto that on Twitter. So that'll be really interesting to see how that one plays out in the next couple of days and weeks. Obviously, Marco Silva was asked a lot about Malcolm in January. He was asked a lot about Malcolm last season because we were, again, heavily linked with the player before he went to Barcelona. I think Sky Sports even announced or reported that we were in advanced talks with the player. Again, don't know whether that was just a smokescreen, obviously, to get him to sign for Barcelona. But it'll be really interesting to see how that one goes. Like I said, Marco Silva asked a lot about him last season and absolutely disregarded every comment and said, listen, we're not interested at the moment. But again, that could have changed. There's obviously something coming from within the club as to state that this player keeps getting brought up and keeps getting mentioned in talks with Everton Football Club. Let's hope it's not another Yarmolenko situation. Let's hope it's not another Yassin Brahimi situation. And let's hope that if the club genuinely do want the player, that there's something behind it and that Marcel Brands is genuinely pursuing that. And finally, a big congratulations to Everton forward Richarlison. Brazil beat Peru yesterday in the Copa America final. Richarlison scored late on in the game to claim the victory for Brazil. They were 2-1 up. He scored a penalty within the last 10 minutes of the game to make it 3-1 and really did solidify the victory for Brazil. Absolutely unbelievable to see, of course. A big congratulations to the whole Brazil national team, except those that play for Liverpool, because I am that bitter. No, I'm only messing. And obviously a massive congratulations to Richarlison as well. Absolutely unbelievable for him to score in that game. Unbelievable for him to play so much during the competition, of course. Being absolutely fantastic for Brazil over the last 6 months, as well as being fantastic for Everton. And I just want to say before I go, Paul Mason, if you're watching, which I know you're not, but if this does happen to make it to you, you're a dickhead, because apparently we ruined the transfer market by paying 35 million for a player that scored 13 Premier League goals, broke into the Brazil national team and scored the winning goal in a Copa America final. So that shows how much you know about football, Paul, but we all know he's a gobshite anyway and he knows nothing. But anyway, like I said, a massive congratulations to Richarlison, of course, and the Brazil national team for picking up the Copa America. I believe it was their first trophy in 12 years. It'll be interesting to see where the Malcolm story goes as well over the next couple of days and weeks, and, you know, whether Everton genuinely are interested in signing Malcolm and in, you know, getting a deal pushed through with Barcelona. Of course, it'll also be interesting to see where the Kevin Morales situation goes as well. It'll be interesting to see if he returns to Finch Farm. If not, is he going to Standard Liège? If so, is it for as little a fee as 1.2 million? We'll see how that one sort of progresses in the next couple of days and the weeks. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's team. A massive thank you, everybody, for watching. Mo says, Youngo and Claudia. Yeah, your boy says, if we could get him for 30 million, I would say that's a steal for a young promising winger. Again, I agree, Mo. I agree that 30 million in this day and age is absolutely nothing, is it? Let's be honest. Paul says, you're really complaining that we have too many good players, Cam. Yeah, we do, don't we, at the minute? We do, and could you realistically keep Gylfi Sigurdsson out the squad? I don't think you could. I see it as a great headache. The more quality in the door, the better. Spot on, Paul. Absolutely spot on. Fantastic comment it is. The more that type of headache is the headache that Marco Silva wants. He wants a headache is the thinking, well, I've got this player who's quality, but I've got this player who's quality in the same position, and who do I play? That's the type of decisions that we want Marco Silva to have to make. Not, well, I've got everybody's shit in that place, so we'll just have to play the best of the worst, isn't it? That's not the sort of situation that you want. CJ says, never won a penalty shootout under Marco Silva. Yeah, we haven't, but again, that can change. Let's hope we never have to go to a penalty shootout under Marco Silva again. Let's hope that we just get games done and dusted within the 90 minutes, if it's a cup game or if it's a pre-season game as well. And Mo says, I love you, Cameron. Thank you very much. I love you as well, and everybody else who comes and takes their time to listen to me talk about Everton Football Club. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's team. A massive thank you to everybody for watching. Please hit the like button if you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new as well. It really does mean a massive amount to me. I'll be back on Wednesday, of course, talking more Everton news at 6:15, so don't forget to join me for that one. And then obviously after that, from Wednesday onwards, the videos and the streams will be a little bit sort of sporadic here and there. I'm still going to try and get 2 to 3 videos / streams out a week. However, if 1 week I only end up getting 1 out or 2 out, then I do apologise for that one. Like I said, I'm going over to Mexico for 2 weeks, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult. I'm still going to keep up to date with all the news, all the transfer news, all the pre-season news as well, so I'll be reporting on all of that while I'm over there in Mexico. But like I said, most of it will be in video form. We'll still be able to talk over the comment section, of course, and I'll still be able to talk about the comments of the previous videos in the future videos as well. But we'll be back on Wednesday for the live team. I don't leave till Thursday, so we'll be back as normal on Wednesday at 6:15. So don't forget to join us then. A massive thank you for watching. Mo says, au revoir, Cameron. Bye, Schlong. I don't know what the last bit of that means, so I'm just gonna say, yeah, cheers. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have enjoyed, like I said, leave a like, subscribe if you are new to the channel as well. I'll see you on Wednesday at 6:15. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you soon.